today?
There it goes. Shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, call all Yahweh Bashim, Yahshai Bashim Kakadash. We're gonna get right into this one. You know, we just following up. We just came back from camp. And on the way, as we were leaving camp, I seen this reel from, what's that reel from? The Life of Big Bang. All right, this is on Instagram. This is the Life of Big Bang, right? It says, while the national news is stuck on Iran, the heart of our own country is literally on fire. We are witnessing the largest wildfire in Nebraska's history right now, and the silence from major media is deafening. As of today, March 19, 2026, which was yesterday, over 827,000 acres have been scorched. If you think the Nebraska wildfires are just about burning grass, you are missing the most terrifying part: the absolute collapse of our local food chain. We are talking about tens of thousands of displaced cattle, up to 40,000 in this week alone. And the impact is going to hit your dinner table sooner than you think. When these fires tear through the sandhills, they don't just kill livestock, they destroy the very foundation of how we grow food. Cattle have a unique respiratory system that makes them incredibly vulnerable to smoke. Even the ones that survive the flames and breathing in toxic ash and fine particulate matter that is smaller than red blood cells. This leads to pneumonia, reproductive loss, and a mass drop in milk production. We are seeing dairy and beef operations report that milk components like protein and butterfat are plummeting. This isn't just a loss for the rancher, it's a direct hit to the quality and availability of the food you buy for your family. Yeah, and that's what it's about, man, because we living in the last days, and it reminded me of the story of Egypt with Pharaoh and how, everything was centered to the economy of Egypt because Joseph prophesied of the famine. So when Joseph prophesied of the famine, he told the Pharaoh to store up your corn, store up your harvest, store up your goods, so that what? Essentially they can corner the market. And that's why this is not being reported. All right. This is all orchestrated by Esau Edom. All right. Now, I didn't have a camera to show me that. No one showed me that, anything like that. But we understand how this devil operates. Again, this is the same serpent from the garden. What does a serpent do? He puts the squeeze on you. Here it is. He's in the Middle East waging war, right? And because Iran is holding back the oil supply, that is causing the price of oil and gas and everything that revolves around trade when it comes to the Middle East is causing the prices to go up because of the Strait of Hormuz and America not being able to receive oil. That's why you're seeing the price of gas go up. All right. And as this news goes abroad, the way the markets work, once this is noised abroad come Monday, prices could go up even higher when it comes to food because of this as well.
Yeah, demand.
Yeah.
Demand, you have a report and tell people that possible food shortages or meat shortages, people going to go out and buy if they have the money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
More shortages because, like they said in a video we was watching, it'll take, some time to replenish what is lost.
Oh, yeah. That's in here because it says here, then there's the manure cycle that nobody mentions. on a healthy ranch, livestock naturally cycles nutrients back into the earth through manure, which acts are a powerhouse, which acts as a powerhouse fertilizer for the next season's growth. But when a wildfire moves through, it scorches the topsoil and kills the essential microbiome, the fungi and bacteria that actually break down the manure into food for the grass. Without those microorganisms, the soil becomes a dead zone. The manure just sits there, unable to be processed, and the natural fertilizer cycle that keeps our pastures green is broken. Yeah, because the pastures have to be green so that the cows can eat. If the pastures aren't green, you're not able to regrow the grass that the cows are eating, then you can't feed the cattle. Then the cattle is no good, and that's how disease spread. But again, this is all being orchestrated. That's why it's the spirit that this article, all this news, when I looked it up, the furthest article that I got was from 2 days ago, which that's why I said it's the spirit that I mentioned, that whole thing with them shooting the deer over there in Drew Hill Park and whatever the other name of the park is. And the spirit hit me, was like, yo, this is organized to control the resource of food, because eventually things like this is going to happen, right? To where now your local grocery stores are in a shortage. And then now what are people going to eat? Now, the natural minded person would say, okay, there's deer out here. You got people that know how to hunt. Let's go. That would be an average, a logical thing to do. Same thing with going fishing. All right. But, you got a lot of border control at these, like immigration be over there by the rivers and stuff like that. By the waters. Because Issachar and Zebulon like to go over by the river. So I know for a fact, last year, they rounded up a whole gang of them by the river. By I think, was that Patapsco right there?
Yeah, Patapsco.
Yeah, the river. That's what, Zebulon and Issachar likes to go. So they be
Sundays,
over there.
Yeah, on the Sundays and stuff like that.
They be over there. So best believe they going to quarantine off these different shorelines so people can't go fishing. See, again, reiterating what we were talking about earlier in regards to Esau Edom fulfilling his blessing of the fatness of the earth. He's about to do that. All right? By what? Hoarding up all the resources of the earth. By you being solely dependent on him for all goods and services, no matter what it is. You got something?
Yeah, I had this, since we were speaking about the famine, this is Sirach 39 and 29. It says, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance.
You're right. Just the other day, not too long, just the other day with tornadoes.
Yeah, tornadoes.
Oh.
Was it bad down,
I'll show you right. Yo, not right here. Right here.
Oh, right down there?
Hell yeah. Right here. You got a bunch of trees falling over here. You got a big ass, I'll show it to you. Big ass tree fell down, man. Right over here when you go, look.
Trees up. I seen a few trees.
You see the top of the house?
Yeah, damn.
You see, that's over when you go Drew Hill Avenue. Not Drew Hill going that way. Drew Hill coming from Hamden. You go up, when you go up the hill right here, you go down right here. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. That's what the tornado caused. See a big ass tree, man. Fell on 3 people's houses. Nobody got hurt or nothing like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of big trees uprooted looking like that.
Yeah, man.
I seen at least
but that was from the tornado the other day. This is how the Most High visits.
Yeah.
The Most High, this is how the Most High visits, through the tempest, through the storms, through famine. So this is another sign to show forth that the missiles are coming, okay, Nate? This is another sign that to show forth that Yahweh return is very near, and that they eventually are going to implement a digital device to be the main source of commerce. All right, a digital system. Okay.
Yeah, this is Isaiah 29 and 6. It says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquakes and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire."
Yeah, that right there, what I showed earlier in regards to Nebraska. Come on, nigga. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah, this is another picture of it. All right. You know, that's the devouring fire. Okay? This devouring fire it can very well cause a famine. And me personally, like I was telling the priest, I'm gonna go grab some meats tomorrow. Realistically, like fill up, because you never know. As this news starts to go forth even more. Again, the markets open on Monday. Prices of things are about to change.
Yeah.
This changes the trajectory of the American domestic economy. All right, stuff like this. And then it said it's going to have a hard time for next year.
Yeah.
This is the core of America's distribution of meats.
That's what they call the bread basket, right?
Right.
Over there in Nebraska, and the area, they call it the Bible Belt. But that's where a lot of food is produced. I got this right here.
America's bread basket.
This is Luke 12:49. It says, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? All right, because Yahweh Shah is coming in the midst of this fire. There's going to be more, fires. A product of riots is fire. So there's going to be more fires before Yahweh Shah come. And like I said, we was talking about it at the camp. This man is he's a devil. He does a diligent search. All right, he's systematically taking away the food and the people's security.
Yeah.
And offering his own sense of security through what he's about to bring.
He's the serpent.
Yeah.
He's the serpent. He creeps up. He doesn't show forth where he's coming from. And then when you're not aware, that's when he wraps you up.
Yeah.
And then he puts the squeeze on you. So you can take the breath out of you. So you give up. And then that's when he goes to devour you. That's what a serpent does. Okay? Now, this is here it goes right here. Where your food comes from. And it says mainly Kansas, but Oklahoma, Nebraska, you can see is right there. I said Oklahoma. I know earlier I said Nebraska is right above Texas, but I was thinking Oklahoma, but yeah, it's actually two more states. So you got Oklahoma, Kansas, then Nebraska, which that's where the majority of America's food comes out of, all right? Out of this region. Y'all Shalom, my brother. Shalom to you as well, Zaquan. Mayaka Allah.
I got one real quick. This is a Sirach 5:7. It says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance.
Right. So everybody, moving along, daisying along, thinking everything's about to be status quo. And, the prices. I seen one guy, he said, that's just a part of war. I'll just pay the gas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll just pay the gas. We're in a time of war and eventually come back down. No, it's going to get worse and it's going to skyrocket faster.
Yeah, they had people thinking that things are going to get back to normal. This is just a typical military action.
Right.
It's like the 12-day war that happened a few months ago. But nah, man.
Nah, this is we're entering into a different phase. We're entering into the closer points of the transformation of worlds.
Yeah.
As the scriptures talk about when she's in travail, the birth pains.
The birth pains.
There's gonna be birth pain after birth pain after birth pain. Like you got
closer,
war.
Closer and closer.
Yeah, you got war, but then now you got this wildfire. What's next?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw Peter Hegseth, whatever his name is. He said we're gonna make the biggest. What did it say?
Oh, they need $200 billion more for the war effort. They're asking for more money for the war effort. But the aesthetics don't look right because you just basically turn the American people away from their health care and all of the benefits that you promised them, through the so-called social contract.
My bad. Damn, what? Oh yeah, I was looking for this. Okay, Pete Hegseth, largest strike package yet coming today in Iran war, which I got this article yesterday, So Yeah, it says Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Thursday that there will be the largest strike package yet.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
You gotta pay for that, man.
Come on. What the? Let me see if I can. I knew it was gonna do that, man. These fucking ads. Trying to get rid of it so I can see the rest of it. It says Hegseth said that the U.S. has struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran, including its military infrastructure. Hegseth said Thursday will have the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. So they looking to advance. They ain't looking to slow down.
Yeah, yeah.
They're looking for more implications. They're looking for more implementation. You know, they're looking to advance. They have an agenda. Yeah. There is an agenda.
Yeah, there's an agenda. They tell the people one thing, but they have an agenda.
Yeah, they got
another.
Yeah. Because it's by the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, these different banking families that we've been telling the people about. Yeah. They have higher ups. There's witches and warlocks that's behind the scenes orchestrating this thing. You know? That's how we know it's all set up, because they learned from ancient Egypt with Pharaoh. All right? Once Joseph gave that vision about, okay, what's the right thing to do? Store everything up. Now it's a funnel. You know? Now it's a funnel for everyone to come to one resource for everything. You thought, we were talking about that earlier, about people with their bunkers and, you know, having these places of securities and these, you know, action plans when it comes to the end time. Look, man, what's coming down the pike is something that's outside of what's ever been thought of. You can't prepare for this. There's no preparation for this. There's no mind frame that you could put on to say, I'm going to be able to overcome in the days in which the return Yahushua consists of. All right? Like I said, we ain't got to be long. We can bring a couple more.
Second Ezra 6:22, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
That's right. The places that were sown, it said what?
Shall be unsown.
Shall be unsown, meaning what? Typically places where they grow crops, you're going to go to that place and it's going to be nothing there. All right? There's going to be nothing there. And that's the projections of what is the outcome of this wildfire in Nebraska. All right? Meanwhile, gas prices going up, diesel prices going up, people striking, and, you know, there's all kind of, you know, already America's in a path of difficulty. They trying to go through, it's about to be worse. It's just about to be worse, man. You know?
The Most High mingle the perverse spirit.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So all the things that they think that they're going to, you know, benefit themselves, it's just a trap.
Yeah. Yeah. Got anything else?
That's all I had on this one.
Right. Like I said, I didn't want to make this long, man. You know, we just wanted to put this out there. Like I said, I'm going to the meat market tomorrow. That's just me. You know, and you can do what you want to do. You know, Passover coming up. It wouldn't hurt to grab one of them lambs up for, you know, for later. You know, have that over before the prices go up. You know, eventually prices is going to go up.
Man,
so
go up.
Grab it up. You know, do what you need to do. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going off for that. You still having faith, you know, because, you know, at the end, we already understand that the bigger test is yet to come. You know, so it's nothing wrong. You're not being foolish by going out and getting extra meats for your house or whatever the case is, you know?
Yeah, pretty soon meat is going to be like, what is it, like a delicacy?
Yeah.
Soon, yeah.
Which is, it's already it's supposed to be a delicacy.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
You know, it's not something that you're supposed to do. I'm just going to get some meats today. Like we able to do. Nah, man, there's a whole process to it. You know, and those things that have been taken for granted are going to be, you know, looked at in great admiration in these last days.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Remember now thou created the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, where thou shalt say, I will have no pleasure in them. All right? So this is the time to remember Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. With that, we'll close. Shalom to the elect. Call on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.